What it do, everybody? This is Junior Zamron coming at you from Ukiah, California for another edition of Baseball, Bobbleheads, and Brews. On today's show, we're celebrating the great one, Roberto Clemente. Then, we're going to be talking about an SGA of Roberto that I think is one of the rarest one out there. And then finally, I couldn't find any Puerto Rican beer, but I think I found one that's very similar out of Oakland, California. So let's not waste any time and let's celebrate the great one. It's that time of year again where MLB teams celebrate the legacy of the greatest humanitarian the world has ever seen. That's right, we're celebrating the great one, Roberto Clemente. Clemente often donated his time teaching the kids of Puerto Rico the game of baseball. He dreamed of building a sports city that way that low-income familias can have a place to play and feel encouragement through the game. 15 years after Clemente's death in 1987, his dream became a reality when the Ciudad Deportiva Roberto Clemente was opened in Carolina, Puerto Rico. It's a 304-acre complex that became a beacon for all Latinos to come and try to become the next Roberto Clemente. After his death, Roberto's humanitarian legacy was honored in his home country by making his birthday, August 18th, Roberto Clemente Day. MLB started honoring his legacy in 2002 with the creation of the first annual Roberto Clemente Day. Now last year, Puerto Rican-born players, along with the whole Pittsburgh Pirates organization, were allowed to wear the number 21. This year, MLB expanded those who could wear 21. It includes every nominee for the Roberto Clemente Award. I hope MLB one day will properly honor the great one's humanitarian legacy by retiring his iconic number 21 league-wide. Hashtag retire 21. The Roberto Clemente Award was first handed out back in 1973, 1 year after his untimely death, to the legendary Willie Mays. The most recent recipient came from my second favorite team, the St. Louis Cardinals, to pitcher Adam Wainwright. Now the Redbirds actually hold the record for most Clemente Awards won at 6, most recently in 2020. Now the A's, my favorite team, have only had one recipient, and that was back in 1990 when A's legend Dave Stewart took home the prize. Now this year's A's nominee is once again Tony Kemp. In 2020, Kemp started the +1 effect. In his words, it's where one person's opinion can help change another person's perspective. That way we can have an open dialogue to help move the gears of systematic change that we desperately need. Now, TK is also a part of the Player Alliance. They focus on building equitable systems in order to change the trajectory for diversity throughout the game of baseball. Now you can go to MLB.com/Clemente21 to cast your vote for this year's Clemente Award winner. Best of luck to you, Tony Kemp. I eagerly await the reveal of the 2021 Roberto Clemente Award winner, which will happen at the upcoming World Series. Now, from Rod Carew himself, via an interview with La Vida Baseball, he regards his 1977 Roberto Clemente Award as one of his most prized possessions. Now, Rod often showcases that award before any of his silver bats. That way people would fully understand the meaning behind the award. It's that you're carrying the legacy and the spirit of the great one who did so much for many people in his short time here on earth with us. Roberto was survived by his wife, Vera Clemente, who continued his legacy with the formation of the Roberto Clemente Foundation. Sadly, Vera passed away November 16th of 2019. The only thing that makes me happy is that her and Roberto are once more together. Rest in peace, Roberto and Vera Clemente. This year's bobblehead of Roberto is possibly one of the rarest ones that are out there. It's the cell phone Roberto Clemente bobblehead, given away in 2002 by the Hickory Crawdads. Now, I believe that there's only 500 of this bobblehead in existence, thus making it, to me, one of the rarest ones. It's made by an unknown manufacturer, but it actually gives me a lot of Destroyer Promotion vibes. Now, the bobblehead, I feel, is made of ceramic because it's pretty heavy and it has one of those fat boy style vibes. It sits in at 7.5 inches tall and has a base that's 2.5 inches wide. Now, the lettering and the logo is all raised, which makes it fantastic. And the crazy thing is that on the jersey, you see the seams of the jersey along with raised detail of the button. The paint itself is some of the best that I've ever seen on a bobblehead. There's even two-tone paint on the Pirates logo and on Clemente's iconic number 21. It's sponsored by Sprint, so it actually has him holding a cell phone. And one of the cool details is that it actually has the numbers, or what looks like the numbers, as detail. He's also holding a bat, which notoriously comes broken while in shipping. Now, for me, I acquired this bobblehead and mine was broken. It didn't even have the barrel of the bat, so all he was doing was holding the handle. But luckily for me, a fellow collector found me a mint version and actually traded me that version for my broken one. As far as player likeness goes, this to me is one of the best depiction of Clemente in bobblehead form. Now, a lot of people say that this is one of the best bobbleheads out there for Clemente, and I actually have that ranked as my number one bobblehead. So this bobblehead is a must for anybody that collects anything Clemente. Or if you are proud of your nationality and want to add it to your Puerto Rican player sub-collection, you definitely have to go out and jump on it once you see it, so you can add it to your collection now. Find the best brew that Puerto Rico had to offer, but out here in California, man, is that tough. The national cerveza of Puerto Rico is Modelo Light, and it comes from the Comencia Cerveceria de Puerto Rico, and it's a light lager that comes in at 4.2% alcohol by volume. It was inspired by the 1979 Pan America Games, which was then hosted by Puerto Rico. Now the cool thing about that is that Puerto Rico won the perfect number 21 medals to honor the great one, Roberto Clemente. Now I look forward to one day trying what has been dubbed as San Juan Juice. As I started looking for the beer to feature on this show, I wanted it to be as close as possible to Modelo Light. And that found me a Thesbrier from out in the town, that's right, Oakland, California, from Temescal Brewing. Temescal Brewing was founded back in 2016 to focus on quality, community, and vibes. They craft vibrant and delicious beers that help bring the neighborhood together. It was founded by Sam Gilbert, who surrounded himself with a very diverse crew and created a very safe and supportive workplace. The beer that we selected this week is their Oktoberfest Thesbrier. This beer comes out every September, and it comes in at 5.5% alcohol by volume. It features Weimer's bark malt, as well as Husberger and Saaz hops. It has characteristics of honey, toast, and biscuit. There's a subtle spicy aroma to it and some floral notes as well. So let's not waste any time. Let's crack this bad boy open and salute to the great one, Roberto Clemente. That's what I like to see. Really cold beer. I'm getting a very toasted malt aroma right off the bat. Not really picking up on the floral notes to it, but it does have a slight spice to it. I would say that it's like maybe clove. The pour on it is phenomenal. I really like that there is subtle lacing of the head. It's a little frothy, and the golden color is fantastic. Now, like I said, I don't know exactly what Modelo Light looks like, but I looked for the same characteristics as a light lager, and this one comes in as a light pale ale. Out of the can, I'm starting to get that toast, like a real nice toasted element to it, not super burnt, but just enough caramelization on the bread that it opens up and gets that sort of sweetness to it. That's even before you hit it with jam. Wow, that's a very, very tasty beer. Now, around this time, I love to see some Marzens and all the German beers coming in because we are starting to get into Oktoberfest. But for me, I have to say, this beer blows me away. If and when I taste Modelo Light, I hope that it has even a quarter of what this beer tastes like. You're getting malty undertones in the mouth. It coats really nicely on the side of the palate and gives you a slight bitterness. But this bitterness actually elevates the sweetness that is in that honey. There is slight touch of honey to it, and normally I don't pick that up in beer, but here it balances out the hoppiness that hits you on the back end and alleviates that. It leaves a really good lasting flavor. You don't want to scrape your tongue, you don't want to have a bite of food, you just want to go back in and take another sip of this beer. Really nice. The way that the head sort of dissipates but still lingers around on the edge of the glass is really nice. Perfect balance of flavor. I would give this beer, to be honest, just like my Bobble Bros say, we got to rank it from 1 to 5. I'd give this beer a 5. This is blowing me away. Temescal Brewing, you better believe that I'm going to be calling, and we got to get you guys on the show because this beer, really good. So I hope that this beer can live up to the legacy that Clemente has put out there. Really good. It shows that they like to have diversity in the workplace. They want it to have a safeness to it, and I think that's one of the things that Clemente wanted. He wanted to make sure that his fellow Latinos, his fellow man, all felt safe. So this beer on this episode makes it even special. And to be honest, I'm going to put it out there. I started the year with Down for My Day Ones as my go-to beer. Whenever I could find it, I grabbed it. Then, from Iron Ox Brewing Company, Oximus Prime held the mantle of the beer of 2021. Now, Temescal, congratulations. As long as I can find this beer, I'm going to continue drinking it into the latter part of 2021. So, for you yourself, find this beer and toast Roberto Clemente, especially on Roberto Clemente Day. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description below, linking you up with the voting for the Roberto Clemente Award. Don't forget to vote for your favorite player, and for me, my vote goes for Tony Kemp. Also, I'm going to link you up with the Roberto Clemente Foundation. That way you can find out what their goal is going forward to help broaden the impact that Roberto Clemente has put out into the world. I'm also going to link you up with, hopefully, Destroyer Promotion that might have made that Sprint cell phone Clemente bobblehead. And finally, I'm definitely linking you up with Temescal Brewing. That way you can find their beer near you and see if this will live up to the representation of Puerto Rican beer. Yet again, I want to thank everybody for joining us for this special edition of the 2021 Roberto Clemente Day celebration. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and we'll see you next time on baseball, bobbleheads, and brews.